views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Daren Jaime, and today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up on today's show, we'll sit down with Senator Gustavo Rivera of the 33rd Senatorial District, discussing how the Bronx can help and donate to Puerto Rico. And then next, we'll give you an update on what's been going on in the Bronx and beyond. And we'll discuss President Trump's comments while visiting Puerto Rico for the first time since the hurricane. And then we'll talk about the Las Vegas shooting and Democrats who are now pushing for gun control. After that, we sit down with the representative from Pregones Theater. They'll be talking about the upcoming shows along with their relief drive for Puerto Rico. And of course, we'll hear from the Universal Bronx Museum of Hip Hop, finding out about the museum's inaugural black tie banquet and fundraiser event. And then we'll introduce you to a charity that involves a bike tour and giving back to the people in Africa. Helping and giving, that's the subject of today's show. All this and much more is heading your way, so we want you to stay tuned because right now, we're officially open. Hello everyone, I'm your host Daren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, October the 4th. Of course, you're watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. Now we want to encourage you to stay connected to us, and you can find out more about us at Twitter on BronxNet TV, and then also Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Well, 2 weeks ago, Hurricane Maria hit the island of Puerto Rico, leaving many in need of water, food, shelter, as well as supplies. The need still continues today. Joining us today to discuss the recent devastation in Puerto Rico and to inform Bronxites on how they can help those on the island, we welcome now the New York State Senator for the 33rd Senatorial District, Gustavo Rivera. And Senator Rivera, good to have you here with us.
It's a pleasure to be back.
And of course, not on good terms, of course, and our thoughts and prayers go out to you. And I know you've got family out there in Puerto Rico. And talk to us, give us an update as to what do you know about your family right now?
My family is okay. Both my parents and my older brother are there, as well as some extended family. My mom, she keeps her sense of humor. She says it is her fall diet. They've lost about 5 pounds each because they're rationing what they eat. They've had to go down to a local creek to get water to bathe. And my dad is not prone to exaggeration or drama. When he tells me that he is starting to really get worried, then I am worried as well. So my family is healthy, they're okay. I've talked to them on a semi-regular basis. The reality is that millions of people currently in Puerto Rico do not have that luck. There are, I'm sure, thousands of Bronxites that till to this day have not been able to communicate with their families. This is a serious humanitarian crisis, the likes of which I don't think our country has ever seen. Take what happened during Katrina in New Orleans and multiply it for an entire island of 100 miles by 35 miles. And 3.5 million people, many of them in mountain towns that still, again, to this day, 2 weeks out, barely have any contact with the outside world. This is not a joke. This is not something to be ignored. It's something we treated very seriously.
Very hard to get supplies in. We know that the United States has been trying to get some supplies in, but the president there yesterday visiting and a lot of controversy even in that. What are we to make, first of all, of the president's comments? And then yesterday we also saw him literally throwing paper towels almost in the form of like shooting a basketball at those people who were receiving much needed help. Your thoughts on the president's visit?
This is the further example of why I do not refer to this person by that title. I refer to him as the Orange Madness, and yesterday he proved once again that he does not deserve that title. He has no understanding of the seriousness of this issue. Look, when you are treating people that are in need of water, of electricity, of basic supplies, and you're treating them as if though you were in a basketball game with a t-shirt gun, it shows that you have no grasp of the seriousness of the issue. Earlier on in the press conference, he talked about how Puerto Rico, they just needed to know that you've got our budget a little out of whack. He made a little joke saying that there's a lot of money that they've spent on Puerto Rico as an administration, and that you've gotten our budget a little out of whack. I'm surprised he didn't do the little handguns, when he said it. It is a ridiculous notion that we are going to prioritize whether a budget to people's lives. Think about the people who right now need dialysis, who do not have access to power. So there's hospitals that have ICUs in which everyone in the ICU has died. You have, I just got a message this morning from a friend of mine who tried to connect me to a woman in Bayamón where my parents are currently living, who has a child that needs electricity to run a machine to make him able to breathe. So that kid might not be alive by the time that this program is over. That is the seriousness that we're dealing with here. So when he does his little press tour yesterday, I was appalled. I cannot tell you how angry I am still at the lack of empathy, at the lack of grasp of the issue here, and certainly he does not understand, obviously, the seriousness of this and how what the administration needs to do to make sure that people do not lose their lives.
Well, let's talk about the people here in New York and how we can help. We know the New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo. We know Assemblyman Marcos Crespo have went down, and I saw a delegation of people that went down to Puerto Rico to actually help with supplies. What can we do and what's needed here? What are you calling for New Yorkers to be able to help in this effort?
Well, first of all, that shows you the other face, the people that understand the seriousness and acted. Assemblymember Marcos Crespo and the governor went down immediately along with Congresswoman Anidia Velázquez. Just last Saturday, along with Borough President Diaz and State Senator Ruben Diaz Sr., an immense effort here in the Bronx. It was incredible to see. There were maybe 9 or 10 tractor trailers that were filled to the brim with materials that bronxites brought to be sent down to Puerto Rico. The transportation of this all is going to be facilitated by the state of New York. That is a group of people who understand the seriousness and are acting. I feel that there's still more than a few places people can drop off basic supplies like baby diapers, baby food, first aid kits, female hygiene products, feminine hygiene products. They can drop them off at my office at 2432 Grand Concourse in the 5th floor of the Poe building. They can drop them off at the Roberto Clemente State Park, which the state has designated as a drop-off location in the Bronx, and they will make sure that it gets down there. And we have to, and two more things. There's an organization right here in the Bronx called Acacia Networks, and Acacia they are going to make sure that 100% of the money that goes to their fund goes directly to helping people in Puerto Rico and doesn't get lost in the shuffle. You can go to Donate Puerto Rico, is one word, donatepuertorico.com, and it will take you to a place where Acacia Network, who already has organizations that they work with, who they work with in Puerto Rico, they will make sure that those resources get to the right place. But most of all, to everyone in the Bronx and to everyone in this country who cares about Puerto Rico, we need to recognize that this is a long-term issue. We will, in the next couple of weeks, God willing, be able to establish some level of normalcy. We will get a grid back. We will get running water back. But then the reconstruction is going to be long and hard, and we need to be committed to do it.
The last time we were on air, we were talking about 69 hospitals in Puerto Rico, only about 15 of them actually with actual power. About more than 90 to 80 to 90% of the people in Puerto Rico, no cell phone service whatsoever. What are you hearing from your constituents by way of communication and being able to reach their loved ones? Because we have a huge contingent right here in our borough.
We do. I have a lot of people who are Puerto Ricans who are my constituents, and they've been reaching out to me via Facebook, in person, coming to the office, calling the office. We've been doing our best to get them connected, but the fact is that there are logistical issues on the ground that we cannot resolve from here. I've been thinking the last couple of days, if I stop, I've been working overtime trying to do little things, right, to be able to help individual people, be able to ship things there that are needed for farmers and such. I've been working on a lot of things, and I figure if I slow down, maybe a mixture of anger and sadness will kind of overtake me. And that's the reality for many New Yorkers and many Bronxites. They still have not heard from their families. They feel a level of impotence that is palpable. Ultimately, I think we can only do what we can do. And in this case, this is why the efforts by the borough president and Assemblymember Crespo and the governor are so welcome, because that's something that we can do. We can go down to the local Duane Reade and buy a box of diapers and bring it to one of our offices. We can give $10. There were a couple of people. There was this old gentleman who walked up with a $50 check to give the borough president during that on Saturday. Just yesterday, somebody sent in my office a check that says like $10. I want to do something with Puerto Rico. We're going to make sure that she gets that money back and that the check back, and that she can send it to one of the places where she can donate. People want to do something, so we just have to focus on the long term here. And you know, Bronxites, if there's things that Bronxites are known for, is resilience. Mm-hmm. And there's many Puerto Ricans that are Bronxites. There's many Bronxites who are Puerto Ricans, and Puerto Ricans are resilient, whether they're here or there.
And of course, we know that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. A lot of controversy has been said about the disconnect between Puerto Rico and most states in the United States, that America really does not even get the full grasp, or at least American government in some ways not getting the full grasp of Puerto Rico deserves the same amount of equality as any of the other states, and people have singled out what's happened in Texas, Louisiana. You've talked about it earlier. Do you feel that disconnect?
Of course. The response, I mean, let's not, obviously I recognize that there's an added level of logistical challenges. There are logistical challenges that exist because of the fact that it is an island. I get that. But it didn't become an island overnight. It always was. It always also had 3.5 million people who are American citizens living there right now, individuals who have, for generations, served in the armed forces and have paid, in some cases, the ultimate sacrifice. This wasn't the case. It didn't happen automatically, just overnight. It was always an island. There were always logistical issues. We needed to put the resources that matched up to what the problems actually were. And that's not what the federal government did. It took this administration 5 days at least to even acknowledge that there was a disaster. It took them a few more days after that to assign someone, in this case General Buchanan last weekend, who actually had some logistical know-how to be able to manage the very difficult job of transporting all the resources that are there, making sure that it gets out to the people. They took them a couple more days to send a hospital ship. Look, the resources are there, need to get there. They did not get there in time, and that tells me how unequal we are.
Yeah, very quickly before we get out of here, Puerto Rico does not have the opportunity to be able to vote. And some people feel that with the option of being able to vote, you might have saw more resources come a little bit quicker. It might have enacted a bigger response from the government. Agree, disagree?
I think this is obviously a longer conversation, but if there is anything that this disaster has made crystal clear for anyone that has eyes and that can see, is that the current colonial situation in Puerto Rico must come to an end.
All right. State Senator Gustavo Rivera of the 33rd Senatorial District, thank you so much for sharing with us. Our thoughts and prayers continue to go and be with you and your family as well. Thank you for coming and sharing with us.
Absolutely.
All right, listen, we're taking a quick break. When we return, we're going to inform you on some Bronx updates and continue to tell you about some relief efforts in helping out Puerto Rico.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Well, a lot has been going on over the past week, but we'll catch you up now with some Bronx updates. Bullying seems to be a big issue in District 12 of the Bronx, this according to the Department of Education. Last week, Abel Cedeno stabbed Matthew McCree and Adrian LeBoy at the Urban Assembly School for Wildlife Conservation, which ended up killing McCree. It was told that Cedeno was being bullied and lashed out on the two boys by stabbing them. A total of 53% of teachers in District 12 say that they've observed bullying. The Urban School Assembly for Wildlife Conservation, where McCree was killed, polled 92% of teachers who said they also witnessed bullying in the school. District 12 has also languished near the bottom of school safety categories last year, including sexual harassment based on sexual orientation and gender, as reported by the New York Post. In other news, making a choice to attend high school can be a very tough decision, but technology is making things a little easier for some students. There's a new app that can now help low-income students pick out the right high school of their choice. Students can receive a personalized list of potential high schools, and students will be matched up with their current address and academic preferences, but only the high schools that will be displayed are those that have a 65% graduation rate. The goal is aimed at helping students who may not have the family support in picking the right schools. Now, the app was created with a foundation teamed up, with researchers at NYU and a former city director of high school admissions creating the new app. Well, the Whitestone Bridge and Throgs Neck Bridge are now part of the Easy Pass cashless tollless system. The two bridges were in the final two to be completed in the cash-free project. Most of the bridges in New York already have sensors and cameras automatically charging vehicles with Easy Pass. Now, those without an Easy Pass will receive a bill in the mail and have 30 days to pay before late payment violations, which can go up to about $100. Now, according to state official, the cashless tolls have already saved drivers 2.1 million hours of travel time since January, and yes, I'm a witness. Well, in other news, elected officials and Bronxites gathered all together to donate an innumerable amount of goods to those in Puerto Rico as well as in Mexico. Our reporter Veronica Guiti was out there, and she brings us the story right now.
Bronxites are out here strong and united for one purpose, to send help for Puerto Rico and Mexico.
Borough President Ruben Diaz and his father, State Senator Reverend Ruben Diaz, along with the Hispanic Clergy Organization, led a donation drive for the victims of Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico and from the earthquake in Mexico City. For the Diazes and for many of the officials and residents of the Bronx, this is a difficult time as the borough holds a high number of Puerto Ricans who call the Bronx their home.
We all have been suffering, many like me, many hundreds of thousands of Bronxites have family members that they haven't been in contact with over the last 9 days, so the anxiety has been building up. And so I think that people have channeled that energy of despair, of anxiety, and have come together to not only deliver material, but also just to be together. And to me, it's the very essence of the beauty of what it is to be a human being.
This is such an amazing outpouring of unity and generosity. Walking over here, the line of people bringing donations, I've never seen anything like this before.
We just sent out 2 containers, filled up trailer trucks, took us about 2.5 hours. The whole community's here dropping off stuff. We just got 2 more trailer containers put here. Fat Joe donated all the containers. The love here today is unbelievable. The unity here is all different nationalities, different ages are here, all running together, and we're gonna help Puerto Rico. We're sending this stuff over here right away.
People need help, that's it, you know what I mean? And that's our people. We all got friends, family as Puerto Rican, you know, we gotta help them.
President Trump has received major criticism for not moving fast enough to help the people of Puerto Rico. City officials say they are not waiting and that it was just time to take matters into their own hands.
As an elected official, I am embarrassed at the slow response of the federal government for our president from Congress to the issues and the crisis in Puerto Rico. Now is not the time for finger pointing. I'm glad the president now understands the urgency and has started to respond, but they cannot shortchange Puerto Rico. This storm is the Katrina of the Caribbean. There should have been no equivocation. There should have been no hesitation.
The federal government still has not responded in an adequate fashion to what the needs of the island are. So this is important, but we're going to also have to mobilize. We're going to have to put pressure on our federal government to bring more resources to the island, because we still don't have enough boots on the ground. People are hungry. People are thirsty. Resources are not getting there, so there's a lot more work to do.
Bronx residents were just as passionate.
I'm an American, but you know, I don't understand this country anymore. But Puerto Rico and Mexico and all the other countries, they will overcome this. Our president has to wake up and grow up.
Yet they let anger and disappointment subside while pride and compassion for humanity took over.
I'm a proud Puerto Rican. I'm a proud Viequense. We're Vieques strong. We're a proud people. We're resilient. And I know that we will stand up and we will keep moving forward.
Throughout the day, hundreds of volunteers came through to help pack thousands of goods for the relief effort. 4 shipping containers and more than 24 trucks were filled with water, dry and canned foods, diapers, batteries, and many other items that will be helpful to both islands. Chaplain Officer Reynaldo Ortiz says that he wants this to provide hope for the people of Puerto Rico and Mexico.
We tell them not to worry because there's a God in heaven that will help those who are in need. Not to lose the faith because they got friends, family, brothers and sisters, especially here in New York City, that we haven't forgot about them and we are helping them.
Things may be wrapping up here today, but donations will still be needed. So you can be a part of it all. Just reach out to your local officials and find out where you can send your donations. For BronxNet, I'm Veronica Guiti.
And thank you, Veronica. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more show right after this.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Well, President Donald Trump finally visited Puerto Rico after the island was badly hit by Hurricane Maria. During a briefing on the relief efforts, Trump compared Puerto Rico's death tolls to Katrina and even let the people of Puerto Rico know that they threw the, quote, budget out of whack. Now, this past weekend, also, a gunman unleashed a number of bullets from a 32nd floor strip of a Las Vegas casino, the Mandalay Bay, during an outdoor country music concert. The numbers, 58 people dead, 527 wounded. The event has brought up yet another conversation about gun control that has led Democrats pushing for that issue. Here now to talk about the latest events, we talk about to our political commentator and the owner of Retrovision Media, Lee Bond. So much to talk about, I couldn't even get it out of my mouth.
That's okay, it's good to be here.
You heard the senator talk in the first segment talking about the efforts with Puerto Rico. A lot of controversy still surrounding the president. We could talk about this a little bit more in depth. How politically correct is it for the president to make a statement that Puerto Rico has thrown, quote unquote, the United States budget out of whack?
Well, you know what, when it comes to political correctness, I don't think we want to use that in the same sentence with Donald Trump, because political correctness is not his strong suit. I think what went wrong in Puerto Rico in this whole scenario is that the mayor of San Juan made one fundamental mistake. It wasn't one that she could avoid, but her fundamental mistake was criticizing Donald Trump. Donald Trump can dish it out, but this man cannot take it. And so when she expressed her concerns, she expressed her doubts that, that this administration was going to do what was necessary to do, Donald Trump, in his usual pattern of reaction, started a tweet storm and actually got into a fight with the mayor of San Juan. She had every right to say what she did. She's responsible for the people there. She's watching. She's on the ground level right now. She's visiting those hospitals, and she's seeing those who are not receiving the goods and services that they need to literally survive. And by the president comparing the death toll from one event to another, I think that's anybody looking at that can see that that wasn't exactly being helpful. The death toll in Puerto Rico was raised from 16 to 17 that he said yesterday to now 34. But and while those numbers are small in comparison to Katrina, we have to understand that perhaps the Puerto Rican government and the mayor and the officials there did a hell of a job in getting people into a safe space prior to this event taking place.
Let me move in a little bit further, because he talks about taking care of the country and talks about wiping away the debt, because he says Puerto Rico has a huge amount of debt. Can you clarify that from a perspective? Because when he talks about helping, we're gonna wipe away the debt, and with full disclosure, he also had a golf course. The president had has a golf course that had a golf course in Puerto Rico, a $33 million golf course that he also filed bankruptcy with and left the Puerto Rican people in debt there as well. So when you talk about wiping debt away, there's still a lot of eyebrows that are raised about the comment and then the tenor of in which it was said.
Well, I'm not really certain that this is the time to talk about debt in the first place. But if you want to go there, let's face it, I've heard numbers where as many as 46% of the Puerto Rican population is living below the poverty line. They have high taxes in order to meet the payments on the debts that they currently have right now. I believe it's up to 11% sales tax, 11.5% sales tax. That is extremely is a real strain on their economy. We are looking at, I believe, the mayor Mayor San Juan indicated that they may have racked up as much as $90 billion in damages that has to be dealt with in order to put the infrastructure back together. So to talk about debt at this point is a little hard-hearted. Secondly, the fact that he mentioned and continued to mention that Puerto Rico's infrastructure was, in ragtag fashion anyway, just adds more salt to the wound, and it's none of any of the things that he's doing right now is helpful. It's pretty much all about Donald Trump. The fact that his administration is taking care of everything at a fantastic level. Everything he does is bigger, better, and far more wide-ranging than anything else anybody else does. So when someone even offers the slightest criticism, the slightest pushback on anything that he's done, they're going to face the wrath of the Twittiot-in-chief, and that's pretty much the bottom line.
Moving on, the president today is on his way to Las Vegas as we speak, as of airtime, going to speak to those and deal with the Las Vegas shooting. We understand Stephen Paddock's 64-year-old man shooting from elevated position at the Mandalay Bay Hotel into a country music concert. The death toll continues to rise. It's the worst shooting of its kind in the United States history. Many times people look at the president as being the consoler-in-chief, but what do you think and what can we expect to happen with the president's visit in Las Vegas?
I expect him to give tremendous kudos to the law enforcement officials who were there, who did what they had to do and what was responsible to do. I think he's going to stand hard fast on with regards to the NRA. He's not going to make any moves to deal with any kind of gun control issues. As of yesterday, I believe it was Mitch McConnell on the floor of the Senate indicating that this was a time for grieving, this was a time for mourning the dead. That comment was matched by Chuck Schumer on the floor saying this is a time to find ways to keep our citizens safe by way of legislating new gun control measures. However, let me give you a list of right now. If you think of Columbine, Sandy Hook, Aurora, Colorado, Virginia Tech, the Pulse nightclub, San Bernardino, after each and every one of those events, there was always a triggering event that we're going to sit down and talk about gun control again. Even after Steve Scalise, he just came back from being shot himself at the Republican baseball practice. Even after Gabby Gifford was shot in Arizona at a supermarket. She came back to a beautiful welcoming by the House of Representatives, and but where is this really going? Generally speaking, the right will say, we got the Second Amendment here. We have the right to bear arms. This isn't anything that we're going to ever give up, and we have the left saying that we have to do something about it. But after the Sandy Hook event in Connecticut, where 20 elementary school children were killed, 6 of their teachers were killed in class, we thought that that might be the breaking point. Barack Obama, right after that situation, during his State of the Union speech, called Congress out and asked them, look, we need to have a vote. In spite of between 85 and 95% of the U.S. population agreeing that something should be done to curtail access to weapons that would cause these type of situations to occur, they lost that vote. Special interests won. Special interests always win because the right to bear arms is ingrained in this country's psyche. And
you brought up the name Gabby Giffords, and we talk about the Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. She was one who was in favor of, or I should say against gun control laws. But after the shooting, she moved to say we need to have some sort of gun control reform. And yet and still one of the colleagues one of your colleagues is shot and she's got a new position. It didn't bring the whole House over in voting in support, recognizing even seeing one of their own colleagues being shot. What's it going to take in order to make this happen, or is it will continue to just be this bipartisan issue that will continue to plague us for time to come? I'm certain that what you just said is probably the case. The NRA has a significant amount of power right now. They've got 5 million strong contributors to their cause. Again, when I said that gun ownership is within the DNA of the American psyche, that's not anything that's going to change anytime soon. We have, again, Chuck Schumer and a variety of other voices are coming out in support of doing something like this, but I'm a firm believer that we are where we are and we're going to be here for a very, very long time. Lee Bond's our political contributor. We always have him here every week here on Open. You can check him out here, as well as on Retrovision Media, where he gives you the latest with issues under fire. Taking a quick break. We'll be back with more right after this.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness. I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
The Pregones Puerto Rican Traveling Theater is all about extraordinary theater performances that incorporate Puerto Rican and Latin culture. This month, the theater has a trio of shows highlighting a number of topics. Joining us now to discuss the Bronx October Trifecta and the theater's relief drive for Puerto Rico, we welcome now Pregones Associate Artistic Director Jorge Merced, and we thank you so much for sharing with us.
Oh, thank you for having us here today.
Hey, listen, glad to have you. We've been talking about Puerto Rico all throughout the course of the show, and obviously for you and those over Pregones, an opportunity to also help out and lend your hand, your talent, as well as your support.
So true. I mean, what's happening in this island, it's been tremendous, and it's been something that all of us here in the Bronx continue to put our hearts out and say, how can we help and what can we do to help those that have been impacted by this. And I know there's a lot of you viewers who haven't been able to get in touch with their loved ones, who are trying to figure out what can I do. And for us, it's really important that people understand that the people that inspire us have also been impacted by this hurricane. And the artists, the people that keep the culture alive, are the ones that are also being the first responders out there, cutting down trees, clearing out roads, going out to older adults' people's homes to help out and still keep their cultural voices alive. And we really want to support them and stand by them and lend a hand to those artists that have made that step. So.
Great work being done there. And so this month is a very special month. You got the Bronx October trifecta. If somebody doesn't know, what is the trifecta?
Well, trifecta, those of you that gamble, you know what trifecta is, but it's when you go 3 for 3. You know, and we dedicated the whole month to Puerto Rico before this hurricane came in. So it's a coincidence that we were dedicating it to Puerto Rico. So we had 3 really great events. One is coming this weekend. It's called the Harlem Hellfighters on a Latin beat, which is about the Harlem Hellfighters, which a lot of people think is an African-American orchestra that really gave life to jazz during the First World War. But half of those musicians were Puerto Rican musicians, black Puerto Rican musicians. And this show is about that component of the black Puerto Rican musicians that joined the Harlem Hellfighters. So that's why it's called Harlem Hellfighters on a Latin beat. And we're devoting 100% of the proceeds from that concert to our relief drive for artists. Then it's going to be followed by this group that we're hoping that they can make it out of Puerto Rico with Las Hijas de Bernarda the following weekend. And then after that, we close the trifecta with El Apagón, the blackout, about one of our favorite plays in our repertory, about the 1965 New York City blackout and 2 Puerto Rican guys that got stuck in the subway coming up from Brooklyn to the Bronx. It's a great show, and we're hoping that people can really connect and understand that now that we need to come together and we need to really show our support for the arts, that this is the best place in the Bronx to be right now, to just shake hands with other people, to find out how are they doing, and to connect and to be people again.
And talk to us about the arts in a time such as this, because you've got this great tragedy that's going on, a lot of devastation, a lot of families out there who are really relying on something to be able to make it. And the arts and theater happens to be a great form and a great outlet to almost sometimes even take your mind away from all that.
It's so true, and usually, Daren, the arts are left for the last part of any relief efforts. And for us, it's really important that people understand the culture is vital. The arts are vital in any type of reconstruction or rebuilding of a nation. And we really want to make sure that our artists, with the artists in Puerto Rico, can connect and help each other. So we established what we're calling the Fund Drive for Artists, in which we're putting cash in the hands of artists where they need it the most. Without any intermediary, we identified artists that have worked here in the Bronx in our theater, and then those artists can identify other artists that they see that have lost something that they need this kind of help, and we are raising the money to really bring that cash right to them where they need it the most right now. So we're asking people to join us, to go to our website and to donate. If you really, there's so many things that are happening right now. There's so many fund drives that are happening, and we're so proud that the people in the Bronx especially are really stepping up and supporting. And this is just one more, where that money is going to go directly to the artists where they need it the most.
And that's the most important thing, because sometimes you want to be able to put your resources and know that they actually get to where they're supposed to go. And we've had challenges before in terms of seeing those things happen, but putting it in the artist's hands makes all difference.
It's so true. I was seeing this video yesterday about a gas station where, the lines in Puerto Rico have been for, 5-6 hours to just get gas. And who were the ones at the front of the line making sure people were nice and people were really comfortable? It were musicians singing. And these are people who have lost their jobs, who don't have any type of resources to really help their families and their neighborhoods, but they're there stepping up and saying, we're here, our culture is important, and those are the people we want to help.
Yeah, very important. For people who don't know about Pregones, an opportunity to share a little bit with our viewers.
Well, we are a Bronx company, born and bred. We've been around for many, many years, 36 years now. And we have our home on Walton Avenue and between 149th and 150th. That's where all of our concerts for the trifecta are taking place. And we're a Puerto Rican theater company that continues to be based in the Bronx and to do the work that our community needs right now. So, and we also have a sister venue in Manhattan, but we are still a Bronx-centric organization. So we do theater, music, film. We do everything that you can find under the umbrella of the arts finds a home in our theaters.
Well, Jorge, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us, and hopefully we can get some more people out there to support this great effort and at least have a great time enjoying the arts.
They should come this Saturday. It's going to be at 8 o'clock to Pregones and come see the Harlem Hellfighters and the Latin Beat. You're going to enjoy it, and you're going to be supporting a great cause.
Good to have you, man.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Jorge here with us. All right, listen, stay tuned. Got more open coming up. We'll be right back right after this.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
The Universal Hip Hop Museum gives people the opportunity to learn all about the culture of hip hop and more. Here now to share us a little bit more about the museum and the upcoming inaugural Black Tie Banquet and Fundraiser, we welcome now Universal Hip Hop Museum Executive Director Rocky Buchanan, and thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Hey, it's all right. It's a good time. I mean, obviously the Hip Hop Museum, the Universal Hip Hop Museum is making its way. Talk to us about the museum and where you are today.
So just recently the city had made an announcement that they approved a proposal that we submitted for a vacant lot on 149th and Exterior. The project is called the Bronx Point. We partnered with a real estate developer named L&M Development Partners and Type A on a massive affordable housing project. So it's an affordable housing project component that includes a brick and mortar space for the Universal Hip Hop Museum, which will finally have a home for hip hop.
That's it. And so when we talk about this museum, what can we expect to happen with the museum?
So, you know, it's going to take us about 5 years to get this project built. We're going to break ground in 2019, and then about 40 months after that, we'll be able to open doors. But essentially, we'll be curating the entire history of hip hop, from the very beginning when hip hop first started here in the South Bronx to where it is presently around the world. So we'll have different exhibits for, you know, from the pioneers like Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash to, you know, current artists like Kendrick Lamar and Drake and even Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm. And we're looking forward to having that right here in the borough of the Bronx, obviously the home of hip hop. When we talk about this, obviously there's some money attached to it, got to raise some money, and you got a fundraiser coming up this weekend, huh?
Yeah, we have a Black Tie Banquet. It's our first Black Tie Banquet. It's Sunday, October 8th at the Eastwood Manor, which is located at 3371 Eastchester Road. Tickets are $100, but that includes an open bar, dinner. You get to meet some of the hip-hop icons that will be in the place. You get to meet our board of directors. You get to learn about the museum. Shawnee Culture from Hot 97 is our host, and this is being presented by one of our board members. His name is Reggie Peters. Mm-hmm. And DJ Knuckles will be providing the music for us that night.
So what does it mean to be able to put this museum and bring it back home to the borough of the Bronx where it all got started from? What does it mean for you?
Well, for me personally, I'm one of the unsung heroes of hip hop. Mm-hmm. I started as a DJ in 1974, so I was there from the very beginning when hip hop first started. I'm from the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx, lived here for 57 years. So to make sure that hip hop remained as part of this history, you know, the fabric of the Bronx, was very important to me, to make sure that people understood that hip-hop started here in the Bronx by a bunch of teenagers who had no idea that it was going to turn into become one of the most popular art forms on the entire planet.
Talked with Curtis Blow not too long ago, and he always expressed his excitement about having hip-hop come back to home, the Bronx, and having it here. What's been the response like for those who've been in the beginning stages, the foundation, the pioneers of this? What kind of response are you getting from them?
Well, everybody's excited about the project. Everybody understands the long journey that it took to get to this point. You know, there's been several other attempts to establish a hip hop museum, and for whatever reasons, they never made it. But this project found its sea legs and was able to break through. We got the support of the mayor's office, support of the state assembly, support of the city council, where we're honoring Fernando Cabrera, council member Fernando Cabrera, because he was one of the first elected officials to really step up front and put his name behind the project. So we're extremely happy that hip hop has a home where it actually originated from.
So if people want to get involved, and how can they become a part of this process? Because obviously it's a process and still some miles to go.
Yes, so they can go to our website, which is uhhm.org. They can go to Eventbrite and buy a ticket and come hang out with us this weekend. Tickets are $100. They just go to Eventbrite, look up Universal Hip Hop Museum, and if they want to get involved, they want to volunteer, they want to learn about donating artifacts or memorabilia that they may have in their house, they can contact me at rocky@uhhm.org.
So you told people, don't throw it away, hold on, there may be some use for it.
There may be some use for it.
So make sure that you give to Rocky and make sure that he can do that. And hip hop has always been one, and we talked about just a few seconds ago, the arts, and we talked about how the arts always has been a blessing to people who really have been going through and struggles and hardships and stuff like that. Talk to us about hip hop and the evolution of hip hop and where it is today, because obviously when I talk to some guys, they say we didn't know it was going to go all the way across the world the way that it is right now, but it has evolved now in Japan and Korea. You name it, hip hop is there.
So hip hop has always been a voice for the voiceless. It has always been about peace, love, unity, and having fun. It has evolved and has become more commercialized, and there are some good aspects of it and some bad aspects of hip hop, but overall, the beauty of the art form is 5 elements. There's the DJing, there's the MCing, there's the breakdancing, there's the graffiti, and there's the knowledge. So that's what the museum focuses on. It's the evolution of those elements and the impact that it has had, not just here in America, but around the world in different communities of color.
All right. Well, Rocky, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us, and we hope that the inaugural Black Tie event is a grand one. Of course, we got to bring it back so you can continue to update us on things that are happening.
Thank you.
All righty. Listen, taking a quick break, we're going to return and talk about a bike tour that will eventually impact a lot of people. We'll tell you about that in a moment.
Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Bike for Africa started in 2011 as an initiative to help humanitarian projects that share the same passion for Africa. Now, Bike for Africa is holding its first American edition of bike riding that will give New Yorkers the chance to give back to those in Africa. Joining us now to tell us more about the event, we welcome now the Marketing and Online Sales Manager for Bike for Africa North America for Brussels Airlines. And we've got Andrea Bonaiuto, who's here with us, and thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Excited to have you, and as we're excited. We had Georgia here last week, and we were sharing a little bit about Bike for Africa, and we have you here today to share a little bit more about it because it's getting a little bit closer.
It is. It's really coming up, and the participants are coming into to Toronto actually this Saturday, and then we are actually starting this 6-day charity road bike ride from Niagara Falls on Saturday. So it's coming up real fast, and we're really excited. We have a bunch of participants coming in from Brussels Airlines in Belgium, from the whole greater Lufthansa group, Belgian community members, executives, CEOs, people who are really passionate about this cause and have participated actually in other editions in Africa through Brussels Airlines Bike for Africa series.
So here it happens in North America, of course, and New Yorkers will have an opportunity to see this. So give people an idea as what's actually going to happen.
Yeah, so this is the very first time that we're actually bringing the edition to North America. In the past, it's always been done in Africa, which is super awesome, starting in 2011 in Rwanda, excuse me, and the Gambia, Senegal, Uganda, all over. And so this is the first time we're bringing the concept to North America as a 6-day ride from Niagara Falls to the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City. And we're actually opening up the ride. If 6 days is a little daunting and totally understandable, we get it. We actually are opening up the ride to just participate in the last day from Central Park to the Brooklyn Bridge Park. And we have this fantastic celebration planned at the Brooklyn Bridge Park. And so we're so excited. And we really want to get everyone involved to show that spirit and get excited about helping the two benefiting organizations of the ride.
So Georgia shared a little bit about Africa and the challenges that are in Africa, like clean drinking water, things like that. Talk about what this is going to be able to do for those who are living in Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. So the two benefiting organizations are the Georgie Badiel Foundation, who you met last week. She is fantastic. And then the second organization is Malaika, which is empowering girls in their communities through education in the DRC, in the Congo. And so really, I mean, every donation is so impactful for us. For Malaika specifically, they run a school for girls in the Congo, and right now they have 200 girls in the school. They just celebrated their 10th anniversary. Every year they add on a new classroom, so as the kids get older, they can actually keep progressing with their education. And $775 will get one pupil through the entire school year, including 2 meals a day, including tech classes with computers, including all of their fitness classes with a soccer field, everything. And that then contributes back to that family as well, because of course, when the girl is being educated, then their family is able to progress as well and reap a lot of those benefits and community development all over. So even, I mean, that $775, it might seem a lot, but it is life-changing for this one student. But even still, as little as $50 can contribute to the tech classes for those communities in the Congo. On the Georgie Badiel Foundation side, the repairing one well is only $500. So, you know, if you repair one well, you're serving upwards of 5,000, 10,000 people. I know in less than a year alone, she has brought clean drinking water to over 75,000 people. So imagine what restoring one well will do.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot that can be done. The impact is great, and there's so many ways to get involved. You can ride with us on that last day from Central Park to the Brooklyn Bridge Park. And so that we've extended the entry fee, I guess you could say, is a donation of $150. So you can see the kind of difference that would make for an organization already. Or you can just come and celebrate with us at the Brooklyn Bridge Park. We'd love to have you. We want to build that community spirit. And so no matter what you do, you can just email bikeforafrica.na@brusselsairlines.com. I'm kind of taking all of your lines.
No, it's okay. You got it. That's what we did. I don't have the answer. You got the answer right there. Go ahead.
So there's so many ways to get involved. We're so excited about it. The first North America edition, and we just want to make it a huge success. So.
Share with us a little bit about Brussels Airlines, because obviously they're really behind this and really pushing this forward. Talk to us about Brussels and the ability for them to be able to sponsor just this worthy cause.
Yeah, so Brussels Airlines has a really deep connection with Africa in general. Between Brussels Airlines and its predecessor, Sabina, we have over 90 years experience flying in Africa. Brussels Airlines was also the only European carrier not to pull out during the Ebola crisis. We have our roots in Africa are strong, and so with that, in 2010, when the B Foundation started, we really wanted to make sure that we were giving back to the communities that we were serving as well. And so this is the first North America CSR initiative that we've done since we launched in North America a couple years ago. But besides that, we service over 70 destinations in Europe, 19 in Africa. So Africa is a very, very important market for us, and we really appreciate and value all the work that we can engage with and do with the Africa diaspora community here.
Talking with Georgie last week, she was excited about the people and where they just come from, and the fact that they're just all going to be coming out and really supporting this. For Brussels and yourself to see all these people, what does it mean to you to see these people really partner for such a real need?
It means a lot to us. It means so many things. It means that one, the care is genuine, it's authentic. It's felt across the world, really. We have people coming from Germany, we have people coming from DC, from Canada, from Belgium, from Sweden, obviously from the US as well. So clearly this passion, this spirit is felt across the board. And so that's so important to us, and we just want to continue to grow that and make it even bigger next year, because ultimately the goal is to raise money for these incredible organizations. And this year being Malaika and the Georgie Badial Foundation, and seeing the impact that we can make on those communities. So it means a lot, and we're so excited.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing the 6-day ride. Starts on October the 13th, I should say, and make sure that you come on out and be a part of that. Of course, we'll continue to follow it, and you got to come back and let us know how things go.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, Andrea, thank you. Well, listen, everybody, we have come to the end of our show today. I want to thank our guests for joining us, but most of all, you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67. If you have Verizon Fios, we're on Channel 33, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. I'm Daren Jaime. It's been a pleasure coming to your homes. We encourage you to keep this channel wide open. Take care. God bless. Thank you.